8 a.m. and I'm at Kingsbury Elementary School in Waterbury, Connecticut. And I'm there 30 minutes before school even starts because I have a meeting with my mom and my 5th grade teacher, Mrs. Jarrell. And all I can think is, I'm screwed. I'm worried, but I'm not surprised. I'm the kid that didn't really do his homework or his classwork. I'm the kid that had to sit off to the side by himself while all my classmates got to sit in groups of 4. And I sat right by the computer, and I had to see all my classmates playing Oregon Trail and Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego. But I couldn't play because I didn't earn that yet. And I'm thinking, I'm never getting on this computer. I'm the type of kid at picture day, I wear a shirt. I wear my dad's shirt. It's a green, Grateful Dead tie-dye shirt with a skull on it and roses. And I got a haircut that I gave myself. The back looked great, but I had no bangs. And this meeting is not about my bad haircut. This meeting is about the incident, the playground incident. I have this wonderful idea that I'm gonna get the recess together, so I sneak into the gym and I steal the gym teacher's rope. And I bring it out to recess and I convince everyone we're gonna have a recess-wide tug-of-war. And I really wanna win, so I get in the loop at the back. And it's a big battle going back and forth, and then my team starts to lose terribly. And I get dragged over 10 classmates, and then continue to get dragged across the playground on my chest, where 10 students end up in the nurse's room, bloody and crying, and getting their parents called just because of me. And Mrs. Jarrell is very patient. Mrs. Jarrell is thoughtful. Mrs. Jarrell is going to give me a responsibility. I'm going to deliver the TV and VCR to classrooms that sign it out. But she doesn't trust me to do it by myself. She partners me with Jeff. And Jeff did all of his homework. And Jeff did all of his classwork. And Jeff wore glasses. And I'm thinking, no way I'm going to be partnered with this nerd. But it has its perks. We get to walk up and down the hallway. He takes the job a little more serious than I do. We get to visit former teachers. But it's difficult to visit one teacher, Mrs. Jacobitis, my 4th grade teacher, because every time I see that TV VCR going into her room, I think of the Challenger explosion. So that's difficult. But Jeff and I become friends, and we hang out after school, and I see that he has a routine. As soon as he gets home, he puts away his stuff, he gets a snack, he starts to do his homework on the dining room table. I live 2 streets away, I walk home. When I get home, I kick off my shoes, I grab red Kool-Aid out of the fridge, and I get on Nintendo and try to beat Mike Tyson and play Super Mario Brothers or Contra. You know, up, down, left, right, A, B, select, start. Jeff is a scholar. I'm a Kool-Aid drinking savage. And I love Mrs. Jarrell's lessons. They were always so engaging. You felt connected. She talked about working out and sports. She was a trainer for aerobics. She always had great stories about her family and all of her kids. So I felt connected. And I really remember this one lesson. She passed out index cards and she said, we're gonna teach you how to take notes. So when you get to college, you'll know how to take notes. And I'm thinking, college? What's that? It's the first time I heard college. But I felt like she was actually telling everyone, but I felt like she was really telling me about college. So the year goes on, and Jeff and I are still hanging out, and one day, a couple times, we start to do our homework together at his house. And one time, while we're doing homework, there's the Waterbury Republican newspaper on the dining room table, and it's open up to the comic strips, and there's Family Circle. So I open it up, and I'm like, Viola? What's Viola? That's stupid. That doesn't even make sense. And Jeff didn't tease me. Jeff didn't make fun of me. He just said, that says voila, voila, voila. It's French. So I'm like, oh, okay. And then the year goes on, and I start to do my homework. I start to do some classwork. And I even get on the computer. I earned gumshoe for where in the world is Carmen Sandiego? And I get so close to finishing the Oregon Trail, but I keep dying of dysentery. And Jeff tells me that dysentery is excessive diarrhea, so that's hilarious for a 5th grader. Because I died from pooping too much. Then the year goes on and graduation happens, and I cry at graduation because Mrs. Jarrell I felt I made a big shift. And then I go on to graduate. I go on to middle school, North End Middle School. I didn't get any A's, but I got a bunch of detentions. I got detention for selling now and laters and blow pops and wearing a shirt, a Bart Simpson shirt that said, "I'm Bart Simpson, who the hell are you?" Then I go on to high school, Wilby High School. I catch a 2-point conversion on the football team, and I get beat up by a motivational speaker that had no arms and no legs. Refer to my previous Speak Up if you want more information about that. And then I graduate high school, and I join the Army National Guard. And this is great. I can follow directions, and I run pretty good. And I learned a hard lesson. Never laugh at a drill sergeant that's yelling at your face. And then after I graduate from basic training, it's time to pick a college, just like Mrs. Jarrell said I could. And I only visited one school. I only applied to one school, and that was Southern Connecticut State University, because that's where Jeff went. And Jeff played on the football team. So I already had a crew. I was already in. And during the year, I studied for chemistry and wrote a term paper with index cards, just like Mrs. Jarrell taught me. And then after Southern, I graduated with a sociology degree, and I'm going on to get my master's. So I get to go to University of Bridgeport. They had a Waterbury campus. And I had to intern at a school. So I wanted to intern at Kingsbury Elementary School, because at this time, Mrs. Jarrell's the principal. And she was even a better principal than she was a teacher. She cared about her students. She cared about her teachers. She was so energetic and full of life. She danced at staff parties. It was great. And then the year of internship ends, and I get a call from Mike Egan, the Director of Human Services. He's like, "Feeney, you got the job. There's 3 openings. We have an opening at Sprague School, Bucks Hill School, and Kingsbury School." Of course, I picked Kingsbury School, because that's where Mrs. Jarrell was. And it's going great. I'm teaching 3rd grade. And then the year goes on, and I get a visit. Mrs. Jarrell knocks on my door. She has a student with her. She's like, "Mr. Feeney, is this your student?" I said, "No, Mrs. Jarrell. That's a 2nd grader. He belongs on the 1st floor." So I go back to teaching. 5 minutes later, another knock on the door. It's Mrs. Jarrell again, with the same student. And she's like, "Mr. Feeney, is this your student?" And I'm thinking, maybe she's telling me that everyone's my student, and we're like one big family. But it wasn't. It was because, unfortunately, she started to suffer from early onset of Alzheimer's. So I'm thinking, why? I saw my grandfather and my papa go through that years earlier. Why does this have to happen to her? She's so full of life and energetic. She positively impacted my childhood and my adult life like no other. So I'm just honored to be here to tell her story and how important she was to my life. And I work hard every day making connections with my students and teaching engaging lessons and maybe incorporating sports just like she did. And I know that I'm just trying to make her proud and carry on her legacy. And I'm very thankful for her family, for sharing her with me, because that, again, besides my mom, she's the only one that had affected my childhood and my adult life like that. So I'm carrying her legacy with me, and I just want to pay tribute by sharing this story. So thank you.